who's a professor of humanitarian affairs. Mukesh, thank you so much for your time. I believe, I'm not an expert, that no other animal, or almost no other animal, apart from humans, kills for any other reason than to protect itself or to eat. And here we have humans decorating their homes, even their bodies, with parts of dead animals. We're quite unique, aren't we?
We are indeed. I think all animals have an instinct to preserve themselves, and they kill other species as part of that. But in the case of human beings, we seem to have overcome instinct and instead do our killing and exploitation by design. And we do it in excess, and we do it with a degree of cruelty and greed, which is quite unprecedented in nature.
There have been plenty of warnings about the destruction of biodiversity and that how that is even going to affect human life. That's from the perspective of what we put into the atmosphere, of how we interact with the planet and the natural world itself apart from animals. This is a different kind of study because it shows how we specifically target other vertebrates for reasons that seem to be extremely selfish. What are the effects on biodiversity going to be if this trend continues?
The research is very interesting. It really quantifies for the first time the extent to which we organize our various forms of cruelty we inflict on other residents on the planet. Now, if this is not mitigated or in some way, then clearly the effect is cumulative. As we've already had with some species which have been lost in history, more of that is likely to happen. And I think the important thing is because the human population has also expanded considerably, the total volume of killings is magnified even further. So this is no longer just something that happens in one corner of the world or the other. This is a global phenomena, and it's there in all cultures. And that, I think, we've never been there before in history. So in terms of trying to predict where this is going to lead us, very difficult to say, other than that it is going to be catastrophic.
Mukesh, I'd always thought that human beings were more parasites than predators. And the reason I arrived at that conclusion was that I don't know of any other animal that actually consumes so much that it destroys the habitat on which it relies to live. I mean, are humans just stupid?
Well, I wish it was only just stupidity. I'm afraid it's far more sinister than that. What happens is that animals and other creatures, let's put it that way, rely on instinct. And part of their evolution is to have a balance. Their instinct tells them how far to go and where to stop. Now, in the case of human beings, in the course of our evolutionary progress, biologically speaking, we've still got instinct. We've still got instincts for good and doing the right thing. But those instincts have gradually been acculturated to be overcome by exploitative design. And we do that because of our competitive streak. We do that to gain advantage over others of our own species. And that in that regard, there are many moral codes and ethics that have grown up in all religions to stop that. But those are human-made norms. They're not kind of natural instincts, and they're hugely contested nowadays. So we see not just that we eat too much, we eat too many different types of animals. It's not just that. It is simply the acts of cruelty that we commit along the way, the torture, the inhumane treatment that goes along. And that is a mark of inhumanity, which we see it expressed, of course, in wars and genocides and conflicts that are going on all around us in very real time. But in a way, that is, we're not just content at killing each other. We're now content at killing everything else on the planet.
Yeah, well done, humanity. Mukesh, thank you so much indeed. Really appreciate it. Mukesh Kapila.